Illuvium's first major patch since launch is about to come out, and it has some incredible upgrades and a whole host of new features and game modes to look forward to. I am so excited, it's not even funny. Now, this news has even set the market ablaze and helped foster an even healthier Illuvium economy than we have ever had before, making overworld exploration profitable for many in the community who know what they are looking for. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I will go over only the important points in the new patch notes and then divulge my own strategy in light of this information at the end of this video. So what are we looking at here? Patch 1.1, and I think putting the 0.1 there is very fair. It is a really big deal. The first thing we have is the IMX plugin update, which will hopefully resolve many of the bugs we're having with minting issues, crafting issues, burning assets. All of that is having a little bit of issues right now, but this should resolve many of those problems. It will also have an Illuvidex link directly to items available in the Forge. Now, they'll need to fix up all the ghost listings and stuff on the Illuvidex, but that could be really cool. Imagine going to the Forge and being like, okay, this costs a lot to forge. I don't know if it's worth it. Click that button, go to the Illuvidex. You can see all of them, buy a bunch of them, or like, more importantly, you can go into the Forge. You can be like, okay, I need 5 lath ingots to craft this weapon. You can go to the Illuvidex, buy the lath ingots. It should update really quickly as well in the game. And then you can just go craft that weapon. So this is going to be really healthy for the Illuvium economy. The other one is the Overworld economy update. So the thing about this one is it has already happened, and there was a patch, and I'm not sure if it was meant to go out, but that was the patch that is coming out in the future. And the idea is that there are going to be way more interesting Illuvials spawning in stage 1, 2, and 3 areas. And I'm going to tell you what I've actually been experiencing personally when it comes to this. In stage 1 areas, there are so many tier 1 stage 3 Illuvials appearing. I went 2 runs back to back before I found 2 exalted gorillas in one run, and then 2 gyros in another run. So they are all over the place. If you want to complete those milestones or get those Illuvials, this is a really fun way to do it rather than buying it on the Illuvidex. There are also many tier 1 stage 2 Illuvials appearing as well. What's interesting about this is these Illuvials aren't that easy to capture unless you have a team to beat them. And even then, setting it up in the battle, you really only get one shot at capturing them anyways. That's all pretty interesting. The other thing at stage 1 runs is a handful of tier 3s are appearing, but you're better off going to the other 2 stages for that. And even every 5 or so runs, I tend to find a tier 5 stage 1 Illuvial. I've been doing the auto scan on stage 1 runs. It is a bit expensive. If you can explore, I still would do that. But I've even seen people show off, I can't remember who it was that found it. Someone found an Ophisto in a stage 1 run. So if you want to find those tier 5 stage 3s, you can grind out stage 1 runs to your heart's content, jump in, look at all the Illuvials, jump out. You can do whatever you want to spend money on. It does sound really, really fun. In stage 2 runs, honestly, I've been finding way too many lynxes. They need to tone that down again, but some people seem to like it and it helps you complete those milestones. It also has a few tier 3 stage 2s. There were already a few before, but there seems to be quite a few more, and many tier 4 Illuvials as well. So a decent balance, but I actually enjoy stage 1 runs a little bit more than them. I also don't seem to be finding enough tier 4 stage 2s in the stage 2 run, but that might just be me. So I'm not entirely sure if it's worth it. A stage 1 or a stage 3 run might be better off. Now, a stage 3 run tends to have at least one tier 3 stage 3. That's been my experience. I found a Familiar a few times. I've heard of a lot of people finding Malura. I haven't found a Monarch yet, but I really need to. So if you need those tier 3 stage 3s, do a stage 3 run every now and then, a few stage 2s. I think that's going to be really good. There are also many tier 4s and a handful of tier 5s appearing now. I used to find only maybe one tier 5 if I was lucky. Now there seems to be about 3 or 4 spawning at minimum, and some stage 2s are spawning as well. It isn't huge odds, but they will spawn a lot more frequently than in the other 2 regions at least. So really, really great. Back to the patch notes. So the other really big change here is that the fusion costs for tier 5 Illuvials will be increased by 50%. Now, this isn't really that bad since they're easier to find. That's kind of why they're doing this. But I don't think it's actually been increased yet. So go and fuse your tier 5 Illuvials before the patch goes live, probably sometime next week. So really keep that in mind, all right? So now we get onto the arena updates. The first one is there are bug fixes. Rogues can't abuse the hex system anymore. Really big deal. If you stick your Blazer Knight or your empaths in a corner, the rogues won't be able to sneakily get behind them. They will be pushed off to the side to wherever they can make space and fit themselves. So that's going to be a lot easier to deal with them when playing the game. The other thing is augment stacking works properly. I stacked a bunch of augments and failed because it was bugged out. You could put like two damage augments and only one of them would apply. Like it was really, really weird, but that's all fixed. In the survival arena, every single run is now randomized, which means you can't just follow a YouTube script to get through it. You can still learn from them, which is really, really awesome. And it should make it more interesting as well. Like if you go into it, you're like, okay, today's run is really hard. I can only beat wave 20. I'm going to back out and just go play something else. Now you can be like, okay, if I retry, I'm going to have different deck, different waves. Maybe I'll get higher this time. And so it's a way more exciting game mode, which is really cool. And you can also go past wave 40. I don't play survival that much because in my opinion, it just takes me so much time. I'd rather be doing something else. But it is actually a really fun game mode. And for those who enjoy it, I think going past wave 40 could be really, really fun. So enjoy that, guys. The other thing is Leviathan Gauntlet is coming, okay? Firstly, Gauntlet fixes. Hotkeys are added for the game. For buying XP, refreshing the shop and stuff. Thank God for that. I've been trying to hit the hotkeys while I play, just off like reflex. It's very funny. Moving Illuvials around will be less buggy. The game will feel more polished and more snappy now, which is really big. The Q UI is going to be added to the game, okay? What does that mean? When you go into Gauntlet and you click search for a game, it's going to tell you right there and then 10 people are currently searching or 2 people are currently searching. It's going to make your life a lot easier. You're going to know how many people are playing, how many people are searching. Really, really good. It's just going to make the experience way better. There are also new tier odds in the shop, okay? They don't give us a whole lot to go off on here. The big thing they say is increased chance of finding tier 1 Illuvials from level 5 onwards. And I saw Kieran, Taryn, and Rich testing the internal build in the Discord last week. And you could really see that tier 1 Illuvials from like level 4 were like 50%. And they stay really high, even up until some of the later levels. So it was really cool to see that tier 1's got more love. There's so many of them in the game that this is kind of important. The other thing is that more Illuvials are available across all of the tiers, allowing way more strategies. Before, getting Arcalion was basically impossible, which meant using Verdant was basically impossible. And it might not come with this patch, like Taryn said on the download, but Ranger weapons are going to come as well. So in about 2 weeks, Gauntlet's going to be a completely different game. Ranger weapons, easier to get, stage 3 Illuvials, just throughout the entire game. You're going to be able to build your own composition, which is very, very cool. And it's going to let you do basically what you want to do while using the strategy of Gauntlet. And at that point, you might actually start be making Ascendant irrelevant. Maybe that's a good thing. We need fewer game modes. I think that will help. And that brings me to my next point, is Gauntlet Leviathan is coming. I will explain the cliff notes, the important cliff notes. In your wallet, you'll have Illuvials, okay? The highest level Illuvial will be chosen. Say you have an Atlas that's level 40 and an Atlas that's level 39. When you enter the game, the 3 Atlases might appear in the shop. When you buy one, it will be your level 40 Atlas. When you buy another one, it will be your level 39 Atlas. When you buy another one, they'll all fuse and it'll be your highest level Axon. If you find another Atlas in the shop, it'll be a level 40 Atlas again. Basically, it's going to take the highest level Illuvial in your wallet. Now, it's worth leveling up your best stat Illuvials to above 30 at a minimum for stage 1 and 2, and above 41 or so for a stage 3 Illuvial, because if you capture 10 gyros and one of them has really good stats, get him to level 41 ASAP so that it uses him in Gauntlet, which is going to make a big difference to how good you go in the game. And like I said before, weapons and suits are going to appear in the shop in some way, or at least that's what the patch notes say here. So with all of these changes, that's the big one. I just explained all that stuff right there really quickly, so you can thank me with a like and subscribe. With all of these changes, not only is the Illuvium Overworld way more fun, but the Gauntlet Leviathan will add some much needed utility to the game and its economy. After we get some sort of leaderboard and rewards, I expect the economy to flourish like it never has before. And it's already doing incredible after the details of this patch were released. Now, before this, if you want to be a top contender, make sure you buy as many tier 1 and tier 3 high stat Illuvials as you can, since they will be the most relevant in Leviathan Gauntlet. And as soon as things like filters are added to the Illuvidex, Illuvidata, that new site, maybe it becomes cheaper, I don't know. As soon as all that's added, these high stat Illuvials are going to get bought up. I've seen so many people in the community hunting for them, buying them. Some are selling them and turning a profit as well. That's a really big deal. The other thing is, to be a top contender in the game, you do need to own a lot of the Illuvials and get pretty good stat ones, but you don't need every single Illuvial. Some people will tell you do, but you don't. What you need to consider is you need probably level 30-ish for pretty much every Illuvial up to tier 4. All of the tier 4s if you can, tier 1 and stage 2, stage 1 and stage 2 minimum. And then you need to pick at least one tier 5 Illuvial that you really like to play, because you will have to get at least one to contend in late game in Gauntlet, generally speaking. And so try and acquire at least one decent Illuvial. Goliath, Forest, and Ramfire are all really key choices for this. Personally, Ramfire has a really big impact. So if you get good stats, Ramfire, level 40, level 50 or whatever, that's going to be really helpful. Goliath I use most of the time, so they're really good. And Forest is like insanely good, because if it goes hyper, you pretty much just win. So those three are really key ones I'd be considering. If you are as excited as myself for these new changes, then please like the video down below, subscribe for more content like this. Please don't forget to use my referral code in the Illuvidex to show your support. Don't forget to check out my beginner's guide on the Illuvium Gauntlet so that you can get a head start on the competition.